On a quiet Sunday morning, when most of America was still asleep, a shadow crossed the Pacific. No warning, no announcement, no negotiation, just a silence that suddenly broke the world open. On the morning of December 7th, 1941, the naval base at Pearl Harbor rested under a peaceful Hawaiian sky. It was early, quiet, and ordinary, the kind of morning where nothing feels urgent, nothing feels dangerous, and the world feels perfectly predictable. Most of the sailors were either just waking up or settling into a slow Sunday routine. But far beyond the horizon, a very different story was unfolding. A Japanese strike force was approaching in total radio silence, moving like a shadow across the open ocean. No threats, no warnings, just a plan designed to shock the world before it could even understand what was happening. For months, Japan and the United States had disagreed over control of the Pacific. Negotiations were tense. Diplomacy was failing. Japan felt boxed in by American embargoes and believed that the only way to secure its expansion was to strike first. Their leaders convinced themselves that one sudden, overwhelming blow could neutralize American power long enough for Japan to dominate Asia. It was a gamble, one of the biggest gambles in modern history. The sky suddenly thundered with engines. Sailors looked up in confusion, some thinking it was just a drill. And then the first bombs fell. A peaceful morning turned into a storm of sound and smoke. Others fought back with whatever equipment they could reach. Amidst the confusion, bravery took many forms. Sailors helping one another through smoke-filled corridors, officers issuing calm commands under impossible pressure, and young men who had never seen real combat suddenly thrown into the heart of it. But the meaning of this day stretched far beyond the destruction in Hawaii. Japan believed the attack would shock America into backing away from the Pacific. Instead, it awakened something far stronger. A nation that had been divided about entering the war, suddenly united with overwhelming resolve. The next day, the United States declared war, entering World War II with full force. Factories transformed overnight from civilian production to military supply. Millions enlisted. The balance of global power began shifting in a way that would shape the next decades. The consequences of Pearl Harbor rippled across every continent. The conflict expanded, alliances hardened, and the war intensified. Decisions made in Tokyo and Washington on that quiet morning would eventually influence the battles of Europe, the islands of the Pacific, and even the future development of nuclear weapons. It showed how quickly the world could change, not over months, but in minutes. And what lesson does this day leave us with? It teaches that peace is fragile, and that nations must never mistake calmness for safety. It reminds us that even powerful countries can be caught off guard if they rely too heavily on assumptions. It reveals the danger of prideful decisions made in secret rooms, and the heavy cost of underestimating an opponent's resolve. But it also highlights human courage, the kind that rises in the darkest, most unexpected moments. Pearl Harbor shows us that history does not move slowly. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, without warning, turning an ordinary morning into a global turning point. And it reminds us that the decisions made in 1 hour can echo for generations. History is not old, history is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Fidi,